Everybody, welcome along to episode 162 of Percussion Discussion. As usual, please check out all of our social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, of course, our YouTube channel, where you can find all of our conversations, past and present, with a video to accompany. So please check that out. Please subscribe as well if you can. And it's always great when I see some comments, be it good or bad. I'll always try and answer them. So if you could do that, that would be amazing. All of the conversations are available in podcast form. These are free to download from your favorite podcast provider. So if that's your thing, get on with it, do it, rate, review, and enjoy them. On to today's guest, a gentleman with a huge career, originally from Great Britain, now lives in America. He's got quite the CV under his belt. Rod Stewart, Roy Orbison, Eddie Money, Jeff Beck, Bernie Taupin, Jimmy Barnes. And now he has joined forces with the great Tom Hamilton from Aerosmith and formed a magnificent band called Close Enemies. So it gives me immense pleasure to welcome the incredible drummer and lovely man that is Mr. Tony Brock. Tony, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, you're welcome, buddy. Nice to finally get with you, Matty.
Oh, hey, it's a real pleasure, and I know we've had a few goes and plagued with a bit of illness and tours and all sorts of all the good stuff as well as the.
I know.
But it's good to be busy, isn't it?
Absolutely. You kidding? Uh, well, being in two bands at the same time and still doing sessions is something I haven't experienced. It's taken me this to get to this age to be in two bands, and usually I'm always busy anyway. But when you got two bands being busy, it's it's incredible. But I'm loving it. You know.
That's great. So I know you've had, because obviously we've been emailing back and forth. You've had a crazy start to 2025, haven't you? Do you want to just talk us through sort of how it's gone so far, as well as a bit of illness involved in there as well? You've had the lurgy. So just tell us
Yeah,
about the start of your year, Tony.
I know. Yeah, absolutely. I've got a new band called Close Enemies, which is features Peter Stroud from Sheryl Crow on guitar, and then we have Tom Hamilton from Aerosmith, who's incredible. He's we call ourselves the Chain Gang because we're the rhythm section from hell, and so we're told. And we got Jason Hampton, who's the lead singer he's the part of the Mickey Mouse Club. I know but he was the rock and roll side of the Mickey Mouse Club with Justin Timberlake and all those guys, and we have Trace Foster on the other guitar, who works with AC/DC. So when we all got together, it was just incredible. And basically, we started we thought we'd just go out and do all the wineries in America. And of course, it was winter time, and the whole of January has been taken up doing that, and I've been doing a few baby shows in between, and plus I was pretty much sick through the whole tour, because you're so busy all the time, your body won't let it go away, and but the last show I felt really good. But we had wonderful shows and a reception for a band that didn't have any music out there. We were the most talked about band in America with no music.
Yeah,
So,
that's incredible.
well, with the people in the band, uh, it was talked about anyway amongst musicians mostly, and it turned out so well. I can't believe it. You
I
know.
mean, the joint CVs alone, because I know you've said where the musicians have come from, but obviously that's only one band that they've been in. You like you said, Sheryl Crow. The collective stuff that you've all done over the years is insane, isn't it? Let's be let's
Oh,
let's not
yeah.
undervalue that what's going on here. That's a
No, that's
very, very
true.
talented band.
Yeah, very true. It's I mean, because Peter Stroud with Sheryl Crow, he's been with Collective Soul. Uh, God, Don Henley, and just I've been lucky enough to be. I was with Rod Stewart for 12 years, um, and played live and did every record with him for the 12 years I was with him. And of course, my first band that became famous, we had a couple of hits with the Babies. So we came to America with that and never went back. And I miss England dreadfully, but this is where I have to be at the moment. And of course, yeah, like you say, I mean, in this band in Close Enemies has just been incredible. They've all got their own history, which is wonderful. So, and
And,
I,
and so,
uh, I mean, while I was with Rod, I got lucky enough to be, to play with Jeff Beck, and well, we could talk about that later if you
yeah,
want. And
I'm
yeah.
intrigued. What material are you doing then with Close Enemies? Have you been writing songs, or are you putting some covers of different things in? What was the
No,
process?
we've actually got 12 songs finished.
Ah, right, okay.
We uh, we started last year, and we got in Peter's house, and most of it was recorded in Peter's house. The guitars were all done in Peter's house, and I ended up doing the drums in Peter Frampton's studio. Um, and they were the last thing to go on. I mean, I'd already done. This electronic kit behind me is what I used on the demos, and and then I went back and replaced it all with a real kit
Sure.
and in Peter Frampton's place. But we had 12 songs finished, and we are going to release. We've just released one. It's called "Sound of a Train,"
Yes, which I've heard, and it's great.
and did you like it?
Yeah, I loved it. Loved it. Yeah.
Oh, good. That's good to hear. And we basically are going to release a new song every 4 to 6 weeks.
Mhm.
And lucky enough, we got signed to Virgin Records, which doesn't suck. So, we got pretty lucky, but it's wonderful to have them behind us. And yeah, like I said, we're doing a song. We got 12 songs finished, and we're releasing one every 6 weeks. And so, just because if these days, if you release one album, it's out there for a week and then it's gone.
Yeah.
You can't, it's things have changed so much. It's not like it used to be, and as you know, so. And unfortunately, well, it's fortunate for most of us, but I've got the babies going out to Australia in March for most of March, and also Peter's going out with Sheryl Crow for a lot of dates, and AC/DC are just taking off. They're doing their tour,
Hmm.
so we're trying to slide in dates in between everybody, and come June, July, and August, we're putting in dates for another serious tour. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, I suppose in many respects, the fact that you're all in well, mainly all in other bands, that kind of takes the pressure off a little bit. If there's one person in another band who's busy, it's a little bit awkward. But if you're all doing it, you
Yeah.
kind of there's a bit more leeway, I'm guessing, Tony.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're not beating up on one person.
Yeah, yeah.
you know, uh, it. We all kind of wish because it's so special. Um, with all the bands and things that I've been lucky enough to do, this just has some magic that is incredible. I can't explain it, but when we get together, uh, there's some sort of emotion and magic and passion for music that we all have the same thing that we want to do later in our life, and it's come together for a reason. I'm pretty sure of that, and so we wish we had more time to keep it going, but obviously we have obligations,
Hmm.
and away we go. And we're just praying that the songs that we've released keep us up there until we're ready to closer to the third quarter of this year, that we can go and play live.
Mm.
We got to the whole of January with the reaction just kept us going, and in terms of we obviously we like I said, there was no music out there, so we had to do 9 track. We did 9 tracks that no one's ever heard
That's
to
tough.
start.
That's
Yeah,
tough.
you're not kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, it's who's done that, tried that? I mean, I'm sure there has been bands that have done that, but I don't know any. And we uh we got away with it. We held their attention, so that says something for the songs. And we ended up do 4 tracks at the end of our show. Um, the most recognizable tracks are 2 baby songs that are famous over here, and 2 Aerosmith songs, Sweet Emotion and Sick as a Dog. So
Right.
we've got to play those, and
Do you do Isn't It Time? Was that one? It must have been one of the ones you did, was it?
it's not.
Oh
No,
no.
no, we do Midnight Rendezvous,
Yeah.
which is a
Yeah.
huge hit. Well, underground sort of cult thing going on here with that one, and Head First, which I was part of to write, and
Okay. And are they still well received? Because obviously, the babies, as you said, you kind of disappeared over from the UK off to America, and it didn't have the same impact on the UK charts, did it? From the research that I've done, which is very minimal, I might add. I don't like to go in too deep. I like things to flow. But it seems to
yeah,
do very well in America and Canada. Have I got that right?
yes, pretty much. Even though we did get in the top 10 with "Isn't It Time," and
Hmm.
every time I think of you over there, and I heard it when I was back just before Christmas. I mean, I heard it every time I think of you every day on the radio.
Really?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So my family tell me it's played every day, and uh, everybody knows us for those 2 songs. I mean, they were top 5 over here, and we're still going out on and doing that. We reformed in 2014,
Hmm.
and in between that, obviously, uh, we've all done our different things. But we reformed in 2014, and we've been going ever since in America.
Amazing.
Yeah,
How incredible to be part of a song. Like you said, your family said they hear it most days, and you've been a huge part of that. Do you ever think of how amazing that is, or is it just? I guess it's what you've done, isn't it? Always done. So, to me, that's a huge thing, incredible thing. But I guess,
yeah. No, I'm one of those that I've seen too many people go sideways, and I like to keep my feet on the ground, but every now and again I have to pinch myself and say thank you, for whoever managed to get me this far, and I've been very lucky. I'd love to tell you how I got going in England at some point,
Please do.
And
Hey, why not? Let's go. Let's go.
yeah, well, I grew up. I was born in Poole, in Dorset, and I still got the accent a little bit. uh, but I was born in Poole in Dorset, and I was friends with Greg Lake. Uh, from Emerson Lake and Palmer and King Crimson, and uh, we had a band. My first band was called Spontaneous Combustion, which is what Greg Lake came up with, and it's not a really great name, but it
Prize out
did get
prog.
it.
That is it. Was it a prog band by any chance?
Yes, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so
Well,
glad.
uh, yeah, we were really popular because we could afford to have the Vox column amp,
Oh yeah.
speaker, I mean, that you could put on your shoulder, right? So if you had one of those in Paul Dorset, you were a big band already. So we used to carry the PA in the two columns on one each shoulder, and that was our PA. And,
Proper job.
I know. My first drum kit was an Olympic, uh, yellow gold Olympic with no bottom heads.
Right. Right.
It it was gray, no bottom heads, and I had a Heyman snare. That was that was my first snare drum, and my lord, it probably sounded horrible, but
Well,
to
just
me
one
then it
second.
was pretty special.
1 second. 1 second. I'm going to show you this now. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
You spot that badge? That's a Heyman kit.
Hang on. Oh, wow, look at that.
Yeah. So
That's fantastic.
that's my little kit that I have in here. It's a 12, a very rare 14 floor tom and an 18-inch bass drum. So that's my little set for in here.
That's fantastic.
There we go. Heyman. Always comes up.
Yeah, I know. I've still got the Heyman snare over there. It's the first drum that I ever had, and it's still there. I've got to put some heads on it and get it back out.
Great sounding drums.
Yeah, it's wood. I'm not sure what kind of wood it is because it's painted white inside, and I guess that's what they did then. But
I
it's still
believe
all original.
well, I've actually done a Heyman episode on my podcast, and I had Simon Kirk was on and Simon Phillips, who've both been avid Heyman users over the years, and I had the Nigel Constable, who wrote the Heyman book, and
Oh,
apparently
okay.
the wood varied a little bit depending what was available in the time, unlike these days, when
Right.
available. So I think it depended when it was made, who made it, but great sounding things.
Oh, it's one wonderful snare.
Yeah.
In fact, talking about Simon, we I saw him on your podcast, and there was I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And then I ended up doing another podcast with another gentleman, and Simon and I did it together.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and it was lovely because he just let us talk, to each other and share stories, and it came out really well.
Good. So Simon's a
There was no,
gentleman. He really is. Absolute
and he's
absolute
a
gentleman.
lovely man, isn't
Yeah. He never looks any older.
he? I know. I hate him for that.
Yeah, me too. He looks 10 years younger than me, and he's probably 20 odd years older than me. But there we are.
Yeah, yeah. He's got me beat too. So,
So you had your
like
Olympic and your Heyman.
yeah, my Heyman, right there, like I said, that was the Heyman and the Olympic drums. I'd love to know where they are now. When we ran to America, I had to leave everything behind, and I'm not sure what my family did with that one. Um, anyway, where was I? Well, we were. I went off track there for a minute,
Oh, you
didn't I?
talked about your spontaneous combustion band.
Oh yeah. Well, basically, yeah. Greg Lake uh, put it. Well, we were already together, but he loved us. He loved our music, and we we got to watch King Crimson record through Greg. Greg invited us in, and we watched King Crimson do Call of the Crimson King. Recorded that while Eddie Offord was kicking the board just to get the explosions on a couple of tracks. And my lord, that was our introduction to the real big time, and that was really special. I mean, to watch those incredible musicians at that time.
And that's an iconic album as well, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Oh, isn't it?
If you're gonna
Oh my lord.
if you're gonna watch a King Crimson album being recorded, that's the one generally, isn't it?
Oh my lord. I've never forget any of it. It was so special,
Mm.
and I'll never forget it. But anyway, so Greg was our first producer. Of course, I was in another band before that called Transit Sound, which turned into Spontaneous Combustion. And Greg came up with that name, and we had a comic album. Well, it was comic too, but the actual cover of it was a comic,
Right.
book, and explained about about explosions and all different thing. It was quite inventive at the time, and we actually ended up going on the road with Emerson, Lake and Palmer when they put that together. And I got lucky enough to hang out with Carl for at least 9 months while
Mm.
we were on the road with him. And I believe he was, as far as I understand, I remember he was taught by Buddy Rich.
Oh, right.
And
I don't know.
yes, and he taught me so much as far as rudiments, and so I know how to do all that. All that stuff. I've never forgotten it. He taught me how to start reading music, and
Oh,
to this day, I know all the rudiments that you should know because they become rhythmical. Not You can change them up and put different accents on different rudiments, and they become a whole rhythm that you can create by yourself
mm.
and by experimenting. Different drums with the same rudiment and that sort of thing.
Were
And
you
anyway, yeah, so I got like really, that was a wonderful time with Carl.
were you self-taught before then, Tony? When as a kid, whatever age you started.
Yeah, I started it when I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
Um, my mum played piano in the church and organ in the church. And so uh, basically, I wanted to play piano, but my mum tried to teach me how to play music, but I to read music, but all I wanted to play was rock and roll, and he's like, "No, leave it out, Mum. I don't want." But of course, you realize when you get into the business, you need to read music, you know,
So
and
Carl was your first teacher then, really?
pretty much,
Wow.
yeah, pretty much. I was really pretty much self taught up to then, and I was doing really fine, But he took me to another level. Um, we didn't spend that much amount of time, um, talking about drumming, but whatever he did teach me, and became a way of life for me. So, excuse me, and it stuck with me forever. And so it was a great experience.
Fantastic. So
You know,
how much further along was it before the babies happened then? Tony, was it a little bit further down the line?
Yes. After spontaneous combustion sort of split up, we were uh, sort of not getting very far, in terms of we were signed to Harvest Records then, but it was going too slow, in terms of record sales, and we ended up sort of. I think they carried on a little bit after I left, uh, but I moved to London and joined a band called Strider.
Okay.
And Strider had the keyboard player that joined Paul Young, and the guitar player uh, Gary. He joined Rod Stewart afterwards. But we played uh, all the clubs all over England, everywhere you could think of. Strider was be the cult band at that time, and we always played the Marquee Club, which were where I got always supported bands like when the Who were coming up and Zeppelin and oh, you name it. We probably warmed up for them and luckily got to know them all. So I grew up with knowing John, John Bonham, and my Lord, Maniac with well, not as bad as Keith Moon, but it was still fun. The stories are just that I have and things we did together are just wonderful. And but the Marquis was responsible for most of that.
And this was
Where
this
I
was the
got to
Wardour
meet them.
Street one. This was the original marquee now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has it changed? I mean, is it?
I think it did change, didn't it? In the late 80s, 90s, I believe it moved to a different location. But
Oh, it
we're
did. I
talking
didn't
the
know
iconic
that.
one now, aren't we? That
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and yeah, Strider was responsible for really getting my name out and their name out there, and we had I played on two records that did fairly well in England. Not big sellers, but they did very well, and I was actually in the Marquee Club when Adrian Miller, who was our manager for the Babies at that time, he came and saw me. He was a Led Zeppelin freak, and of course, that's still uh, to the day I still play. I'm not saying I'm anywhere near as good as John Bonham, but he was my hero, if you want to put it that way. Well, if I do, is he's responsible for me uh, doing what I do and loving it the most. Because, even Kashmir is my ringtone on the phone. So
Yeah,
if
good
you,
choice. Yeah.
yeah,
Kashmir and When the Levee Breaks, they were my two favorites.
were they? That's mine too.
Yeah, yeah.
You, I mean, the inspiration that gave me was unbelievable. And John was just so inventive, and he had the best foot in the business. And how he turned things around, and of course the Zeppelin, as you know, uh, they gave him the room to do that.
Hmm.
They would play around his backbeat and create songs like AC/DC do.
Hmm.
They leave that backbeat, especially for John and for Phil Rudd when he was doing it with AC/DC. And it's a great trick if you can pull it off. And we yeah, John's it's his fault that I'm still doing it. So
I'm sure he'd be thoroughly happy to know that.
yeah, yeah. I have a we were I have a lovely story that we were in the Rainbow in on Sunset Boulevard here in LA, and I walked in with the babies. We came in, and I I get into the front door, and all I could hear was this, and this person, huge person, came down the stairs and landed right on the floor, and his face he was face up, and he looked at me and he said, "Hello, Tone." and I looked at, what's going on? He said, "Oh, they're throwing me out again." So, so I guess he
Oh,
had a little bit. He was a little inebriated with it, and they were throwing him out of the Rainbow. So, you know, uh,
oh, just
but I'd only met him once before that, or a couple of times, and just to have him say, "Hello, Tone," like and he come tumbling down the stairs. I could have swore he was hurt himself. But I guess when you drink that much, you don't feel anything. So
an anesthetic for you. Yeah. Do you know what?
yeah,
Money can't buy memories like this, can it?
no,
How what incredible things to have. Um,
yeah,
just wonderful stuff. Wonderful.
I know, I know.
So
So
go on,
tell
carry
me a
on.
little, tell me a little bit about that Heyman kit. Where did you get that from?
Ah, right.
And
So this Heyman kit, I've not had it long. I got it from. We have a thing in the UK every is it September? Late September, called the Vintage Drum Show down in Coventry.
okay,
And you get it's quite unlike normal drum shows where it's loads of noise and lots of new equipment. This is very much pretty quiet, quiet in volume,
yeah,
and there's lots of old equipment. There's a few bits of new stuff, but you get the likes of Neil Wilkinson, Ralph Salmins, some great jazz players. Ian Palmer's goes along, Steve White goes along every now and they do little
really.
demonstrations and things. And I was going on the Sunday this year, and I saw that Nigel Constable, who wrote the Heyman book, had this set, and he said, "I'm bringing it along." It's actually been recovered, but I think it's a late
I
'60s.
was gonna say, yeah, there's the white finish inside,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
mine.
yeah. You can see, you can see.
Do they do that on every kit, or is
Yes,
that a
they did every kit. And he just said, "Oh, I've redone it all. It's all nice. Does anybody want to buy it?" And I couldn't resist. I said, "Yep,
of,
yep." And he said,
of
"It's sold."
course?
So I was like, "Oh no, sold already." I think it was Saturday afternoon. I was sulking, and Nigel sent me a message. He said, "Oh, the person hasn't turned up. So if you want it, you can just get it tomorrow, and then pay me when you see me, or whatever we did. I don't know. I know Nigel quite
Yeah,
well, um, so yeah,
that's fa-
I kind of looked out a little bit with that, and it's lovely. It's a gorgeous thing. Um,
that's fabulous. And
yeah,
so, did you got a bass drum as well, correct? And
it's only a small little bop kit, so it's a 12 by 8, 14 by 14, and an 18 by 14 bass drum.
wow,
So it's
I bet it sounds great, doesn't it?
hang on a minute. Look, as soon as we're here. So there's the bass drum.
Oh, look at that little thing.
Cute, isn't it? Cute. Very cute.
Oh, I bet it sounds
Oh,
wonderful.
it's got a right punch to it. Yeah, to be fair, for a small bass drum. So that's my little cute Heyman kit.
Fantastic. I,
Oh,
I still use a 26
wow.
kick drum. Like I said, I'm still in the John Bonham world,
Yeah,
and
that's it would look like, well, I think that would fit in it quite comfortably in a 26.
yeah, yeah. Of course, I
Wow.
use that. I don't know if you can see. That's an extension for the DW kit that I use at the moment. It goes on the front.
Like a
Uh,
subwoofer type thing.
It's a subwoofer. Yeah, it doesn't give off as much bottom end as it should, but it does give you a little bit of length to the sound. It looks really good. Let's put it that way. So, but there's a microphone in that one, and I have two microphones in the bass drum, and facing each other, which you shouldn't do, but you put one out of phase,
Yes.
and so I get the kick side and the resonance side from the front head, and with no hole.
Mm.
So it gives me the lovely resonance.
So with
And
three channels to play with of bass drum microphones, you can pretty much get whatever you want, can't you? Let's be honest.
yeah, there you go.
Wow.
So, anyway, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Uh,
So
yeah,
you can get the kick, the punch, the click, whatever you want. All yeah, that's the way to do it.
yeah. Well, with the new band now, I'm lucky enough to have Aerosmith's drum tech. He's wonderful. He puts it up right the first time, and we have Aerosmith's house guy front of the house, and so he loves the fact that I've got 2, 3 microphones to play with for at the front, and because it changes every night, and he knows I love that John Bonham length, resonance, and you have to have the punch, from the back head.
Mm.
So he's enjoying it. So am I.
I'll
So
bet. So,
yeah.
my fear, if you like, of having a 26-inch bass drum is getting the height usable on your rack tom. Because obviously, do you
Oh
have to have it
yeah.
over to the left and lower down, or do you have your stool up pretty
No,
high?
I sit I sit. I'm only 5'8", but I sit high
Mm.
because I don't. My leg, if I sit straight, if my legs is level,
Mm.
and or if I sit too low, then my legs up in the air, and then we play. I play so hard, and for a long time that I found that the blood was not flowing properly through my legs, and get extraordinarily tired. By the end of the show, which is you're bound to anyway. I mean, you know, when I was playing with Rod Stewart, I used to I had so many lights on me, which is wonderful, but I would lose at least 4 to 5 pounds a night water weight. It was 145 degrees up there, and and we do a 3 hour show.
Yeah.
So by the end of the 3 hours, I was, we obviously chugging water like nobody's business, and uh, but so now, I mean, I sit high, so my legs got a bit of, and plus I'm finding I'm getting more weight behind it,
Mm. Mm.
and so I'm for basically getting back to the rack tom. I can sit the rack tom on top of a 26 and just have the edge this far away, like quarter of an inch away from the top of it, and it looks natural.
Yeah.
It's not to the side. I hate that look when you have to put that tom to the side a little bit,
Yeah.
because then
It's
you
not very ergonomic, is it, to have to go that
no,
to go wherever. You know,
yeah.
you don't get
I'm
that problem with an 18-inch bass drum. You can put it wherever you want.
well, to have a 26 is not everybody's cup of tea because it's hard to get a good sound on it.
Mm.
You know, uh, sometimes I do use a 24 just out of ease for the sound guy, and but I've never gone smaller than that. So uh, I know a lot of people have a 22 and they get some incredible sounds out of it. But I find if I usually record with a 24 and still get some bottom end out of it because I use a lot of room sound,
Yes.
and that's how I get the sound that I love the most.
Well, that's
And
the Bonham thing again, isn't it? That's that. It kind of goes back to that, doesn't it? I guess.
yeah, well, with the babies, we I had Ron Neverson, who was uh, he was producing the babies, and of course I stole all of his ideas. Then I used him as a producer and an engineer these days. And uh, we had basically almost just four microphones in the whole room. We did have the whole kit mic'd up, but generally the sound was from the room. We would rent a house and use the mobile studio, just like Bagco used to, or Free, that and just like Zeppelin did.
Yeah.
Because Ron Neverson was the first guy to do put a mobile studio together, and so he at that time he was still doing the same thing, and I'm still proud of that drum sound on this record called Broken Heart from the Babies, and some of the tracks really show off that sound, Bonham-esque sort of sound. And of course, not everything I do is Bonham. You have to make it your own.
Of course.
He's just an inspiration. He's the inspiration for it all. And but you have to, you have to do what you do. Every drummer and every musician takes the people and that they love, the musicians that they love, they grew up with, and they take the bits that they love the most or inspired by, and then put them all together, and that becomes you.
Mm.
And if that works for you, and you don't have to copy someone else so much, that's wonderful, So that's what I do.
You've got the most incredible names on your CV, and one that's come up, and I have to ask you about it because it's come up in a few places, is Roy Orbison.
Oh yeah, Roy.
So, I mean, I'm a fan of Roy Orbison, and I occasionally help out a Roy Orbison tribute band. If the drummer can't do it, the guy called Johnny, I get the call, and it's a reading gig. It's just turn up. And I'd forgotten what incredible songs Roy Orbison had.
Didn't he?
So, how did you? What did you do with Roy?
Well, finally got to do. When I say finally, I got invited to do a session with Roy, but unfortunately, it was the last record he did, and basically, I was doing a session, and it was for Roy, and it was really, really good. I mean, he was not doing so well health wise, and most of the session the musos were out in the studio, and Roy was behind a sort of he was in the vocal booth.
Sure.
Of course, I got to give him a hug and say hello and everything, but unfortunately, that record, I hope it still comes out.
Mm.
But I did the very last thing he ever did, and as far as what I know, it's been a few years now. But they said they were going to mix it because it was done by the time I walked out of the studio, and there was some wonderful stuff on there, and Roy was still doing his thing. And, of course, the jokes were flying back and forth, and we were having fun anyway. And it was a wonderful experience, but it never saw the light of day. And because of his health, and I guess he didn't have the input to mix it. And so apparently I've got someone, they've just told me that they are going to put it, mix it and release it. So,
let's hope so, because
yeah,
a crying shame to have played the last song Roy Orbison ever played. And
yeah,
never come out. That's not the end of the story, is it?
no, and I was really proud of it. So hopefully it comes out, and
I hope so.
and the family see some more money from it for to keep them alive. So
And what sort of year would that have been, Tony? You remember?
Ooh. Um, no, I don't. That's really bad of me, but I don't. It
Late
was.
80s or
Oh no, it's yeah, 90. Right, it was you know, right, literally 4 or 5 months before he
yeah,
passed.
I can't remember when he passed away. To be
No, me neither. That's why I'm struggling. We've done so much since, which is
honest.
I shouldn't forget what
Oh,
what year that was, but you know, the older you get.
hey, I'm
I
51. I can't remember what I did yesterday. So, um,
Yeah, I
and
know.
and of course, a huge chunk of time with Rod Stewart, which what era was that then? I'm sure you can remember that with a 12-year stretch.
Yeah, I joined him in well I sang on Foolish Behavior in '79.
Ah,
I Because uh uh the band Strider I was talking about went out with the Faces. We supported the
With
Faces, so
Kenny.
that's
Wow,
yeah.
right,
So that's how I became to know Rod
right.
and Woody. You know, Ron Wood's become a dear friend, and that's and so when the babies got together, I got a phone call from Rod, and saying, you know, do you want to come and join the band? And the day before, I'd signed a record deal for the babies with Chrysalis Records, and we were just getting on a plane to Canada to do our first record. So I went, damn, you know, here I am. I'm going, you know, what timing? Rod Stewart calls up, and I'm on my way to make my first record with my own band. So I had to apologize and say no, I couldn't do it. And that's when Carmine Appice did it.
Yeah.
So you know, but I did sing on the Foolish Behavior album, and then I joined him after the Babies broke up in '81.
So did you follow Carmine then? Were you the drummer?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a bit of an awkward moment because Carmine and Jim Cregan, they were co-producing together Rod's album, and Rod pulled me in halfway through, well, three-quarters of the way through after they were almost done, and Carmine was there, and fortunately, Carmine and I talked about it first because I was really uncomfortable,
Hmm.
you know, doing Carmine's job. And Rod, I did played on the first track. Rod had me redo every track.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
and then
unreal.
every track that was in the future from that album. And unfortunately, and it was really difficult for me to, you know, I'm not one of those guys that you know. I mean, I'm too sensitive, which is, but you know, but at that time in my life, you know, to be taken to doing what Carmine redo some of the tracks was really awkward. And to see him across, you know, in the control room,
Can't imagine.
no, it was difficult. And I kept talking to him about it. I said, are you sure you're okay with this? You know? And he said, yeah, I'm fine. You see, it's great, you know. But Rod, you know, he let Carmine go before I was even finished with the album.
Yeah.
And
So
so it was
were you
unfortunate. And
were you redoing the tracks, Tony, because he was unhappy with what Carmine had played, or was it more of a financial thing
oh, no,
or a
it's
legal
nothing.
thing?
No, not at all.
Mm.
It was because I think I put my character down on the tracks that I did that he wanted to keep that continuity going on the whole album.
Okay. So
I
it's
think that
at least it's a genuine reason for redoing the stuff.
yeah, no, I
No
mean, you know,
bitterness. Yeah,
yes, why would you replace what Carmine's done, you
exactly.
know?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
But uh Rob wanted to keep it. That's why he let Carmine go because because he was co-producing at that time, and Jim ended up taking over, and I ended up doing the whole album. So, but Carmine and I are still dear friends
Hmm.
to this day. So, I had to get over it. The and
Carmine was
if
a
I
great guest
if
on
I hadn't have
early
got,
guest on the show as well, and he was
yeah,
fabulous, I have to say.
oh, good, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And he's a good lad. So I'm glad we stay friends. And I wouldn't ever want to do that to someone. If someone did that to me, I don't know how I'd feel.
Yeah.
So
I can't
anyway,
imagine.
but it worked out fine. And Carmine is obviously Carmine, and he takes things with a pinch of salt. Anyway, so I feel worse than he did. I think so. Because he moved on to other better things for himself.
Yeah. And
So it was
you
meant to
must
be.
have played on some huge Stewart hits then, I'm guessing. What's the biggest, do you know the biggest or among the biggest hits that you've played on? Because I haven't, I didn't realize quite how long you'd been with Rod, I'll be honest. So,
Yeah.
what's,
No,
which huge ones have you played on?
well, there's Tonight I'm Yours, um, Every Beat of My Heart, Baby Jane. Uh, it goes on and on. In fact, Baby Jane, I had to present it to Rod 3 times before he would record it. I didn't write it, but the bass player wrote it. But I heard it and I said, "This is
Great
just a
song.
smash hit." And so the third time I presented with it, he was like going, "Okay, Tone, we'll do it. Let's give it a try." And it ended up being one of his best songs ever. So even playing it for the Queen's Jubilee, there were, Anyway, what else did I do? Well, everything through the '80s. I mean, you name it, I did it. Um, what else is there? I mean, it just goes on forever. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'll think of a ton more in a minute, but
Just,
it was yeah. So um, why am I forgetting a lot of these tracks? I mean, I played them for 12 years,
yeah, you
so
should know them all by now, but it must
I know, you
it
know.
must have been a brilliant time in your life that,
Oh,
for you
it was. We would, at that point in time, it was the Rod Stewart group.
yeah.
It wasn't Rod Stewart and his bandmate. It was Rod. That we were terrible. You know, Well, you can imagine we got away with things that you'd be arrested for immediately these days,
Yeah.
and it was such a good time. We were a band unit, as I said. Rod didn't even want his own dressing room at that point. He would have a dressing room with us, and we did everything together, including we went to dinner together every night. Uh, you know, uh, we were just one band unit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it was yeah, incredible, and within that time, um, of course, I did the Infatuation album.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, that's another song, Infatuation, which was a big hit as far as I know in England. Uh, Jeff Beck played on that one.
Right. Okay.
So I got to play with Jeff Beck on that whole album, and also uh, when we went out on the road, Jeff Beck came with us and did a 5 song set in between Rod's set, which I was fortunate enough to do that.
So you played for Jeff as well
Yeah,
as a
I played for Jeff as well in between Rod's thing, and we started off with the pump and all that, and And Jeff used to come around. We had a horseshoe right behind the drum kit that went up behind me, which Rod used to walk around on. And Jeff would come flying off of that and slide all the way to the front of the stage, holding the sustain note. And it was like, oh, phew, here we go.
Wow.
It was pretty special. It didn't last that long because Jeff's was known for his not staying on the road too long with the same thing before he got too bored. But I still got to do it, and I'm really pleased that I did. And just to have those moments. Doing the album was a lot of fun with Jeff because just playing off of each other and doing different things. At one point, I asked him because he did one lick that for me he could have done one better, but it was incredible. And I go back and listen. It was incredible, and I should have never asked him to try and replace it because he never does the same thing twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he said, sure. I say he played another one, completely different, but it was so good. I said, that's it. That's the one. But I could have kept the one before because that was brilliant too, you know. And so it was all fun, fun and games.
You've had the most incredible career, and we're talking, we've gone through 70s, 80s. We're in 2025 now. I don't want to talk about how
You're
much
not
time that
supposed to say that.
and you're still doing it with two bands. I mean, if I had a hat on, I'd take it off to you. I really would. I've got so much respect for you still doing it at the highest level, Tony.
Uh,
Fantastic,
thank,
honestly.
thank you, Matty. That means a lot. It's not easy as you can imagine, but you know, I'm enjoying it too much, and it's in the blood. I mean, you must know when you. I mean, I can't imagine stopping. I haven't. I've never leveled off. If I don't practice and feel like I'm getting better all the time, I'm. That's the day I'll quit.
Yeah, yeah. I
You
can't see
know.
that happening anytime soon, I'll be honest.
Well, hopefully my health is stays the same. I have to work out. I had to give up drinking just to keep it going. Rod and I went to well, we can talk. Well, I went to Jimmy Barnes in Australia and did and we had seven number one albums when I was with him, and I played on Working Class Man, which is one of his big first hits solo. Uh, uh, that was just insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I would fly back just for a weekend to come back and see, of course I flew my family down there, but, a couple of things, unfortunate things happened. I had to come back for a dear friend of mine was passing away, and I just needed to see him before he did go. And so I flew back for a weekend, and that's 48 hours of flying
That's commitment.
to be,
You know,
to, yeah. And we're going back in March. So,
I
yeah,
bet you're looking
no,
forward to it.
yeah, yeah. But, Jimmy and I were maniacs. And so we took the drinking and enjoying ourselves way too much. And so I had to give that up, which is fortunate because that's why I'm here today.
Yeah.
And, I feel better. I'm playing better. And there's not those nights when you're in the studio till 4 in the morning, thinking you've got the best drum track in your life, and you go back the next day and go, "Oh God, what was I doing?" Those days are gone. So,
Well, I
uh,
have to say, right, now let me see. Hang on a second. Wait there. I got it here. Bear with me. Oh no, got it here somewhere. But I was going to say, Carmine's written a wonderful book. a biography, and I'll eagerly await yours, Tony, because I think you could probably do about 3 books with your career and history. So
Oh, I don't know. Carmine's done a lot himself, you
he
know.
has, he has. But you've done more than your fair share yourself. So and you still continue to do so. So get that pen to paper, and I'll buy it. Put it that way.
Oh, I'd love to. Especially in the baby's days. Wally Stocker, who's he's I was talking when I was talking with Simon Kirk about when I told you we did a thing together, a podcast together, and I had to tell him how much the babies love Free, because every time we did a track or every time we did something, it would be okay. What would Simon Kirk do here, or what would Free do? And then it moved on to what would Bad Company do?
Yeah.
And because to me, Simon Kirk is so musical, and that's the way I think I love. That's what I love to do. I play for the track, and then when you was it's that whole boring saying, it's what you leave out, not what you put in.
Space
You know,
everywhere.
I don't get paid by the note, so that's that. Put it that way. And I love to leave out. And then when you do something special, it stands out, and people go, "Oh my lord, that was incredible!" But if you're constantly just doing a drum solo through a record, what's the point? I mean,
No,
I
I'm
I want to
totally.
be a musician. I want to be a musician and play for the song.
Yeah.
And then fortunately, I've had every band I've been in, I've been able to do a drum solo, and no one's ever told me, they don't want it. So, and so I get to get my rocks off on that and show people I do have the licks. But there's lots of songs that I've done that people go, "How did you do that when you're doing 12 over 4 or something?" On the hi hat, and I've come up with some rhythms that I'm really proud of that people, most musicians, give me nice credit for. So I'm happy with being myself and not having to show off. There's a lot of people a lot of musos out there that just want to prove themselves as a musician, or as a technically
Soloist
being
almost. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm comfortable with myself not having to do that, but I do always make sure there's something in a song that's pretty special that I enjoy. So, you know,
Well, Tony, this has been an absolute pleasure. And before we go, I have to thank our mutual buddy Adam Parsons for connecting.
oh, good old Adam.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He is, and
Yeah, he's
appreciate
wonderful.
his help once again. Uh,
Yeah.
so thanks for giving up your time so generously. I'm glad we made it in the end. And
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm sorry we had so many attempts in it, but I'm happy
we got
to
there.
do this with you anytime, mate.
Thank you.
You're a lovely person, and I really appreciate everything you do. And
Take
Maddie, you
care.
take care of
Happy
yourself.
touring, and see you soon.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
All right, sunshine. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.